Okay, in this lecture we're going to talk about how to insert rows and columns into your spreadsheets quickly and easily, and I'm going to show you some shortcuts and tricks, ways that you can insert multiple rows and columns, and how to, for instance, insert every other blank row just to make your work a lot easier. So we'll dive right in. First, I'm going to show you a little cheat sheet here. These are just some keystrokes that are going to help you. But before we get into these shortcuts, we'll use just our mouse to get some rows in here, kind of the old-fashioned way, and then I'll build on that to show you some cool tips and tricks. So the first way to insert a row is just to click on that row. You click on the row number, it'll highlight the entire row, and then you're going to right-click and click Insert, and bam, you have a row. Pretty basic, pretty straightforward. Let's Control-Z to get rid of that. You can do the same thing with a column. Left click on the column number, right click and click Insert. And you have a new column. You'll notice that when you insert a column within a formatted range, it will keep that same formatting, which is really cool. Let's say we're just clicked in a cell here and we want to select the whole row. This is where this shortcut right here is going to be. You hit Shift Spacebar, and that selects the whole row. Then you can use this shortcut, Alt-I-R. So when we hit Alt, it's going to bring up all these shortcut keys, but we're not even going to use any of the ones up here. We're going to use I for Insert. We'll hit I, and then it's still waiting for another command. You can see from the notes it says up here. We hit our R, and it inserts a blank row. You'll also notice this little drop down here. It gives you some insert options, and if we click on that, it'll give you some formatting options. So you can format it the same as the cells above or the row above. You can format the same as the rows below, or you can clear the formatting entirely so it does its own thing. And that can be really helpful depending on where you've inserted your row. If you don't want to use that, just either click there or click off of it. And when you click back into this space, it'll go away. So let's undo our insert row. And this is where the fun begins, because you probably already knew that. But the fun begins when you go ahead and select, say, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 rows. And you go to your insert row. Now it's going to insert multiple rows. So this can be very helpful when you need to insert more than one row when you're doing a lot of work or you're doing this every hour at your job. And that's what a lot of people don't know. You can do the same thing with columns. If we select all 3 of these columns and insert, then it's going to give us 3 new columns. Okay? Control-Z to get out of that. And then finally, and this is kind of my favorite little trick, is if you select this row and then you press the Control key and click on each of these rows individually. Got to make sure you actually click on it like that. And then we do Alt-I-R again, or right click and click Insert Row, but we're going to do Alt-I-R. Now see what happens? It does a row every other row. So each row that I individually selected, it adds a row. And actually I missed one down here, but you get the idea. But you can see the point of how efficient that could be if we needed to, say, put subtotals or some other information in between each of these rows. That's going to help you a lot. And you can do the same thing with columns. I can Control-Z, select that, press Control, bam, bam. Let's go all the way. And then you can do your Alt-IC or right click and hit Insert. And you'll see that through a column in between each one. And you'll notice some of the formatting on this one is weird with the columns, so you're just going to have to be aware of your formatting if you're doing that. But that's a quick and easy way to do that. Okay, so that's how you insert rows and columns, multiple rows and columns, and every other line rows and columns. Thanks for watching.